In our previous episode, there was a famine that led to Isaac having to move to Gerar, and he resettled there and got really wealthy, doing a lot of deals, making money, acquiring wealth, and then he got kicked out of the city for being too rich, and he had to resettle. And in his resettling, he had to redig a lot of the wells that his father Abraham had dug as they were filled in. And then he made some deals with the locals to protect his sovereignty and location. And then his son married two Hittite girls. Esau married two Hittite girls. Genesis 27:1. When Isaac was old and his eyes were dim that he could not see, he called Esau, his elder son, to him. My son, he answered him, here I am. So we got Isaac here, this old man. He is just an old dude. Having a hard time seeing. A lot of old people, when they get old, they have a hard time seeing. Could be cataracts, could be a lot of other things, some sort of medical reason, I'm sure. And he figures he's probably on his deathbed, so he's calling his son. He's calling his son to come to him. Genesis 27:2, he said, see here now, I am old. I do not know when I may die. It's important to get all your stuff in order before you die. Sometimes it's really hard to know when you're going to die, and it can kind of come as a thief in the night, and you just don't expect it. And it just kind of happens. But generally speaking, when you get to be old and you start to feel your life start to wane, it's probably a good idea to get all your affairs set in order. And I think that's what Isaac is doing here. He's not necessarily going to die any second now, but he wants to get his affairs set in order. Genesis 27:3. So now I pray you, take your weapons, your arrows, in a quiver and your bow, and go out into the open country and hunt game for me. There's something about like that last meal, that favorite meal, the meal that is kind of nostalgic. And if we remember Isaac and his relationship to Esau, Esau was kind of the hunter, and Isaac always enjoyed the game that he got. Whatever it was, whatever animal that be. There's a lot in that generalized area. So he wants to experience that like nostalgia of that meal with his son and his son's game. So he's sending him off to go hunting, to bring him that meal that reminds him of probably that better time or whatever, or is very nostalgic and sentimental to him. Genesis 27:4. And prepare me appetizing meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat it, to give you my blessing as firstborn before I die. So he's desiring this meal, and in the process of getting this meal, he's going to grant the blessing of the firstborn. I don't know if this blessing of the firstborn is necessarily just a ceremonial thing, or if there's something beyond it in a material sense, but we'll probably find out soon. Genesis 27:5. But Rebekah heard what Isaac said to Esau, his son, and when Esau had gone out into the open country to hunt, that he might bring it. The plot thickens. So we have Rebekah listening in. She has heard all of this that was said to Esau. And as we recall, Rebekah had a bias, a love towards her younger son, Jacob. Genesis 27:6. Rebekah said to Jacob, her younger son, see here, I heard your father say to Esau, your brother. 27:7. Bring me game and make me appetizing meat, so that I may eat and declare my blessing to you before the Lord before my death. 27:8. So now, my son, do exactly as I command you. So she's relayed the message that was told to Esau, and now she is going to give direction to Jacob. Genesis 27:9. Go now to the flock, and from it bring me 2 good and suitable kids, and I will make them into appetizing meat for your father, such as he loves. So he's been tasked to go into the field. Of course, they're herdsmen, as Abraham was also a herdsman, so they have animals. And a kid is just simply a baby goat. So He's going to go get some of those. And Rebecca, being married to Isaac for a pretty long time, probably knows how to cook a meal just the way he likes it. Genesis 27:10, and you shall bring it to your father, that he may eat and declare his blessing upon you before his death. So this looks like a little bit of a ruse for him to gain the blessing. But then again, he already bought the blessing off of his brother. This is just a way to make sure that he gets it, I guess. As we recall, his brother sold him the blessing for a cup of soup. So there you go. I hope those lentils were good. I know lentil soup can be good, but is it your birthright good? I don't know. Genesis 27:11. But Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, listen, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. So they don't look alike, so they're not identical twins. And his brother's a lot more hairy than he is. Maybe he's got more arm hair, or he's got a scruffy beard. It's hard to say, but his appearance is different enough, and by feel is different enough, that it's definitely a voice of concern in the eyes of Jacob. Genesis 27:12. Suppose my father feels me, I will seem to him to be a cheat and an impostor, and I will bring his curse on me and not his blessing. 27:13. But his mother said, on me be your curse, my son. Only obey my word and go fetch them for me. Jacob is probably right to be concerned that his father will figure this out and what's going on, but his mother is going to take accountability for this. Genesis 27:14. So Jacob went and got the kids, and he brought them to his mother, and his mother prepared appetizing meat with a delightful odor, such as his father loved. 27:15. Then Rebekah took her elder son Esau's best clothes, which were in her house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. 27:16. And she put the skins of the kids on his hands, on the smooth part of his neck. So this delightful meal is prepared just the way Isaac likes it. And his mother disguises Jacob, putting him in the clothes of his older brother, putting the skins of the goats on him in such a way that if his father touches him, he'll feel the fur and know that it is the older son. The trickery is here. He will not know. And it looks like it's his hands as well as like his neck. So a beard, and maybe he was hairy on the hands too. So that's how this is going to work out. So we'll see. Genesis 27:17. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hands of her son Jacob. 27:18. So he went to his father and said, my father. And he said, here I am. Who are you, my son? So they've made their preparations. They're going in. Jacob has the food in his hands and calls out to his dad, my father. His father responds, here I am. Who are you, my son? He's kind of confused because they're here quite a bit earlier than expected. For in Esau's case, he would have to go out, he would have to hunt an animal, then skin it, clean it, cook it, whatever, and bring it back. Whereas in Jacob's case, he was able to just go to the flock, go grab some kids and bring in the preparation immediately, not having to track anything down, so everything would be a lot quicker. So some of the confusion could be because he was there much sooner, and then when he asks if it's his son, it's like, yeah, it is his son. It's not the servant who came to bring him a meal, it's his son. Genesis 27:19. And Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done what you told me. Now sit up and eat my game, so that you may proceed to bless me. Here we go. He's trying to expedite the event of the blessing. He's a little bit curt in this, but then again, that could just be how it was written down in the translation. It might have been a little bit more graceful in the original event. There is definite a direct attempt at deception here with his lying, saying that he is the first son, the firstborn. Genesis 27:20. And Isaac said to his son, how is it that you have found the game so quickly, my son? And he said, because the Lord God caused it to come to me. So Isaac's asking questions about how he got there so quick, and it's followed up with a bald-faced lie. Genesis 27:21. But Isaac said to Jacob, come close to me, I beg you, that I may feel you, my son, and know whether you really are my son Esau or not. There is definitely a lot of doubt in Isaac right now. He might know something is up, he figures something's not quite right, and he wants to make sure that this is his son Esau. Genesis 27:22. So Jacob went near Isaac, and his father felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. So his father hasn't lost his hearing completely. He does recognize that this is Jacob's voice, but the trick that they played with the skins on his hands seems to be effective, for he believes they are Esau's. Genesis 27:23. He could not identify him because his hands were hairy like his brother's Esau's hands, so he blessed him. 27:24. But he said, are you really my son Esau? He answered, I am. So he felt that the hands were of his son Esau, and he claimed to be Esau. So therefore he must be Esau. I wonder what was going through Isaac's mind at this point. I think in his old age and his poor, failing health, he was probably not in the best of state mentally. Genesis 27:25. Then Isaac said, bring to me, and I will eat my son's game, that I may bless you. He brought it to him, and he ate. And he brought him wine, and he drank. What a wonderful meal he's having with his son, although it's not the son that he thinks it is. Genesis 27:26. Then his father Isaac said, come near and kiss me, my son. 27:27. So he came near and kissed him, and Isaac smelled his clothing and blessed him and said, the scent of my son is the odor of a field which the Lord had blessed. Genesis 27:28. And may God give you the dew of the heavens, and of the fatness of the earth, and the abundance of the grain and new wine. 27:29. Let the people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be a master over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Let everyone be cursed who curses you, and favored with blessings who blesses you. So this blessing is really quite interesting. It's going to be a little bit to break down. So the first part of the blessing, we have all this talk of the heavens and the fatness of the earth and the abundance of grain. So fertile ground, and I guess with the dew of the heavens, having good rain, good irrigation, that stuff is actually going to grow. And the grains, probably, some of them you would eat, and other ones would be for livestock, and that's always a good thing, having good, healthy livestock as well as good farmland, as well as the brewing of wine, so that it's not like you're just surviving on food, that you're able to have a little bit more and able to turn some of that stuff into wine for a little bit of a pleasure drink. And then we go from that to this aspect of the nations. Let the nations bow down to you. Be master over your brother, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Okay, so I think this is the transfer of property or materials or whatever to Jacob, and that he is now going to be the leader of the house, and as such his brothers are going to have to obey him. He's going to kind of be put ahead of them, kind of leader of the house type of thing. So he's just going to inherit that. And then we have this other thing with the curse those that cursed be those who curse you, and favor blessings to those who bless you, which almost sounds a lot like that covenant that God made with Abraham way back when Abraham was doing that covenant thing. So it's almost like God made that deal with Abraham, then Abraham kind of probably passed that on to Isaac, and now Isaac is passing it on to Jacob, who he thinks is Esau. So there's a whole lot going on here, and I'm sure there's people that have wrote their doctoral theses on this and still don't know what's going on. So there's just a whole bunch of multi-dimensional, multifaceted things set up in this blessing here. And it's not just a father saying, "Good luck, son." Genesis 27 and 30. As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob was scarcely gone from the presence of Isaac his father, Esau his brother came in from his hunting. Esau's a little late to the game. He just missed out on the opportunity that was offered to him by his father due to the conspiracy between his brother and his mother. But I could also see this as an intervention on God's part for when he sold his birthright to his brother. That this was God's way of making that deal stick. Genesis 27:31. Esau had also prepared savory food and brought it to his father, and said to him, "Let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may bless me." 27:32. And Isaac his father said to him, "Who are you?" And he replied, "I am your son, your firstborn Esau." So we have a repeat of what just occurred, but the blessing has already been given out. And now that Esau is here and Esau is late, what's going to happen? Genesis 27:33. Then Isaac trembled and shook violently, and he said, "Who? Where is he who had hunted game and brought it to me, and I ate of it before you had come, and I had blessed him? Yes, and he shall be blessed." You can really feel the emotional roller coaster in Isaac. He is shocked. He is outraged. He just is beside himself, lost. And then he comes to the realization. He thinks about that hand that he touched, that it really didn't feel as much as a hand, a hairy hand, like he was thinking. Maybe it was something more. And then he thinks of that smell, or maybe something else, maybe even the food itself. There was probably elements that he was picking up on, signals that he saw that let him know that it was Jacob. I guess the voice too, right? He could tell it was Jacob's voice. He had all these signs and all these things that he knew were a little bit off. Yet he trusted in and was deceived by his son and gave him the blessing of the firstborn. And there is only one of those blessings, for there is only one firstborn. Genesis 27:34. When Esau heard of the words of his father, he cried out with a great and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me, even me also, O father." Esau is crying out. He wants that blessing. He wants that blessing from his father. He wants something from his father. And he's asking his dad if he can have another blessing. Something in substitution to the one that was the blessing of the firstborn that went to his brother. Genesis 27:35. Isaac said, "Your brother came with crafty cunning and treachery, deceit, and has taken your blessing." We can really tell in this line here that Isaac is very upset about this, and he doesn't have the nicest words to say about his younger son Jacob coming in here and deceiving him and taking the blessing. Genesis 27:36. Esau replied, "Is he not rightly named Jacob, the supplanter? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my blessing. Have you not still a blessing reserved for me?" Poor Esau, losing out again. First he sold his birthright for a pot of soup, and now he lost his blessing. How sad. I find it kind of hard to empathize with Esau. I mean, he was out there hunting, kind of having a good time, doing his own thing. He's got 2 wives. He's just living it up. And then you have his younger brother, who's probably out there working in the fields, long hours every day trying to look after everything, make sure stuff stays working. And his mom really appreciated him, but it didn't have the flair of Esau. So in his father's eyes, he wasn't as cool. And he wasn't the firstborn either, despite being twins and probably within minutes or seconds of each other, right? So I don't know. Genesis 27:37. And Isaac answered Esau, Behold, I have made Jacob your lord and master. I have given him all his brethren to him for servants, and all corn and new wine have I sustained him. What then can I do for you, my son? It sounds like the whole operation was given to Jacob, and Isaac has nothing left to give to his son, Esau. Genesis 27:38. Esau said to his father, Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up, could not control his voice, and wept aloud. Esau has been pushed past his breaking point and is now broken, weeping openly and loudly. Genesis 27:39. Then Isaac his father answered, Your blessing, dwelling, shall all come from the fruitfulness of the earth and from the dew of the heavens above. 27:40. By your sword shall you live and serve your brother, but the time shall come when you will grow resistive and break loose, and you shall tear his yoke off your neck. So he's going to have to get his food from the ground and trust in the rain to provide for the food to grow off the ground, or the fruitfulness of the ground, or maybe the animals in the forest or whatever would be included in there. And he has been offered servitude to his brother, at which point, at some point, he will eventually resist that and break free from his brother and the servitude. But it doesn't end there. Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessings with which his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are very near. When he is gone, I will kill my brother Jacob. Wow, that escalated quickly. So he is plotting the death of his brother. Genesis 27:42. These words of Esau, her eldest son, were repeated to Rebekah. She sent for Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, See here, your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you by intending to kill you. So he spoke these words in his heart, and for Rebekah to find that out would mean that a supernatural force would have to be the one to let her know what was going on, for her to have this perception. And she needs to warn Jacob of this. So she does. She warns Jacob of this plot to end his life by his brother. Genesis 27:43. So now, my son, do what I tell of you. Arise, flee to my brother Laban in Haran. Oh, is the plot thickening? Here we go. This is getting exciting. So Jacob is going to have to go back to the old land of Abraham and Abraham's fathers. Laban, he was some sort of relation to Abraham's brother or something like that. So, well, I guess we just saw that a couple of chapters ago. So he's going to have to go back to that world, and he's going to have to go and dwell there for a while. Genesis 27:44. Linger and dwell with him for a while until your brother's fury is spent. So just go away, go see my brother, go hang out there for a while. Eventually your brother will calm down and you can come back and I'll send for you. Genesis 27:45. When your brother's anger is diverted from you, he will forget the wrong that you have done him. Then I will send and bring you back from there. Why should I be deprived of both of you in one day? It's kind of an interesting ending to that line when it talks about losing both of you in one day. I wonder if that would be like as if Esau killed Jacob and then Esau either gets kicked out of the family or they put the dog down, so to speak. So I don't know. It's better for one of them to go away than to lose both. Genesis 27:46. Then Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth, these wives of Esau. If Jacob takes a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these Hittite girls around here, what good will my life be to me? So we're going to be rounding off the end of the chapter. So Rebecca is communicating to Isaac. Isaac's still alive. He's not dead yet. And they're just kind of having a conversation. And she's talking about the Hittite girls that have married Esau and just kind of how problematic they are and how she doesn't want Jacob to be like that either. So I think she is alluding to wanting to send Jacob out of there to the land of her fathers to maybe find a wife that's more pleasant and pleasing and not another enemy to bring into the household. This also kind of doubles down as a method of getting Jacob out of the area so that his brother doesn't kill him. So it's a multifaceted, multi-dimensional plan that is going to have lasting ramifications throughout history. And there we go. We are done. Genesis chapter 27.